The question before us is, will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision?
She did it again. I bet Trump don't even know that many V words. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, there are two kinds of people. Those who avoid confrontation at all costs, and those who, as long as it's not involving them.
So let me remind you of what happened behind closed doors.
Well, you should ask O'Connor about my credibility.
I haven't asked you a question. Okay?
You are?
When I haven't. So when I ask you a question, that's when you answer. Otherwise, I'm talking.
Love to watch it from a safe distance. For those in Group B like myself, you never miss a Jasmine Crockett speech, especially not at the DNC convention.
On November 5th, our nation will hire a president, a commander-in-chief, and leader of the free world. So let's compare their resumes, shall we? One candidate worked at McDonald's while she was in college at an HBCU. HU.
You know? Am I allowed to say that as a non-Howard grad?
The other was born with a silver spoon in his mouth and helped his daddy in the family business. Housing discrimination, that is.
Talk to him. I'm saying talk to him. This really should be brought up far more. I mean, you're not allowed to use the proceeds from criminal activity in a lot of circumstances. Why discrimination?
She became a career prosecutor while he became a career criminal. With 34 felonies, 2 impeachments, and 1 porn star to prove it. Her entire career as an elected district attorney, attorney general, and senator, she's always worked for one client, the people. Meanwhile, he's a 78-year-old, lifelong predator, fraudster, and cheat, known for inciting violent mobs.
Well, when you put it that way, I don't think he could get hired for her college job at McDonald's. But he up for president?
Listen, y'all. He's only looked out for one person, himself.
Go ahead and give me the Donald Trump act, any act that wasn't self-serving. Don't worry, I'll wait.
She's lived the American dream while he's been America's nightmare.
Anytime you see an older black woman cheering you on, you know you on fire. I mean, that's better than 10,000 people cheering for me. I just need one older black lady telling me, you tell them.
America, looking at the 2 choices before you, who would you hire? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Well, it depends on what kind of job, because if I was hiring somebody to scam or to cheat or to disappoint a woman, it would definitely be Trump.
Kamala Harris has a resume. Donald Trump has a rap sheet. She presides over the Senate while he keeps our national secrets next to his thinking chair. Y'all know what I said that other time. In Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, you know we do.
But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets looks like in the shitter to me. This looks like more evidence of our national secrets, say on a stage at Mar-a-Lago. Well, Donald Trump wants to put our 1787 Constitution through his Project 2025 paper shredder and make every day January 6th, Kamala Harris is fighting to fulfill the promise of America. In the real world, this wouldn't even be close. But this election is. Don't make a mistake. We are the underdogs in this fight.
Now here's the part that I struggle with, because everything that she said was absolutely correct, but really speaks to years of impotence on behalf of the Democratic apparatus. Why is this close? Now, you could also ask me how he even managed to commandeer the entire Republican Party, but where there is no integrity, it cannot be missed.
Some of you know a little bit of my history, some of you don't, so let me tell you. I was a public defender. I did criminal defense as well as practiced civil rights law for almost 2 decades. I know a good prosecutor when I see one.
Oh, this must be one of those special Law and Order episodes where the defense attorneys and the prosecutors get together in the name of justice. Speaking of Law and Order,
in the criminal justice system, the people are represented by 2 separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. This is the story of Donald Trump. His entire life, Trump has believed he's above the law, that no one would ever dare hold him accountable. He lies, he rips off workers, he sexually abuses women.
Hey, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
He cheats in business. He cheated on his wife with a porn star and paid her off so the American people wouldn't find out during an election. But in the criminal justice system, ordinary Americans have had the courage to find him accountable, time and time again.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Donald Trump, guilty on all 34 felony counts.
For the first time in history, we have a convicted felon running for president. And to take on this case, we need a president who has spent her life prosecuting perpetrators like Donald Trump. He tried overturning Georgia's free and fair election.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
He's tried to escape any responsibility for instigating the January 6th attack on our Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
And if elected, Trump has promised to overturn laws that would keep him accountable and exact retribution on anyone he considers an enemy, even warning of a bloodbath if he doesn't get his way. So we, the people, have a chance to render our own verdict on Donald Trump. We are the jury he most fears. When we vote this November, we vote for justice, accountability, and the rule of law that keeps America free.
Kamala Harris is the kind of prosecutor we long for in the cases like those of Breonna Taylor. Yeah. She was the first Attorney General in the nation to order that her officers wear body cams, and she started the Back on Track program to reduce recidivism.
hold on, I'm sending this to my Hotep friends, swearing that Kamala locked up the homies. You should too.
Listen, y'all, she did all these things because she genuinely cares about people. She sees each person as just that, a person, not a statistic. She's proven that since the first day she stepped into a courtroom and said what y'all already heard Hillary say, I did not copy off of her speech. I just want y'all to know. She walked into that courtroom and said, Kamala Harris for the people. And she meant that. Many of you know her credentials. But what I love about Kamala Harris goes beyond her resume, is that she sees the humanity in everyone. She's the only candidate in this race who is capable of empathy.
Imagine that. I don't even think anybody on Fox News would dispute that. In fact, they're out there pleading for him to show some on a daily basis. I'm old enough to remember the days where you didn't have to plead with a presidential candidate to exhibit human qualities.
When I first got to Congress, I wasn't sure I made the right decision. The Chaos Caucus couldn't elect a speaker, and the Oversight Committee was unhinged. I was going through all of this when I visited the Vice President's residence for the first time. As I approached Vice President Harris for our official photo, she turned to me and asked, "What's wrong?"
Now, what she's talking about right now is real, because as much as I absolutely love Jasmine Crockett, I do videos on her all the time. I love the way she speaks truth to power. Don't everybody want to sign up to deal with that every single day? Like, imagine you walked into a job and you had to deal with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz on a daily basis. That check ain't enough. It takes a special kind of person and a special kind of strength to want to deal with that. I identify with it myself. I mean, I grew up in DC with a mother that was entrenched in politics. It was all around me. But I became so disillusioned in the early 2000s, you know, the W years, that I wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. So it's really kind of random and full circle that I ended up back here. Is this some kind of different dimension? Are those my kids? But I digress. This is about you, Jasmine Crockett.
Mind you, we'd never met. But she saw right through me. She saw the distress. I immediately began crying.
Now, as much as I identify with this was jarring. I mean, seeing Jasmine Crockett cry is like seeing Thanos be defeated, or seeing LeBron's Lakers in the play-in tournament, like watching the Patriots fire Bill Belichick, like watching Jodeci after 2000. I love you, KC. I'm just being honest.
And the most powerful woman in the world wiped my tears and listened. It's so hard for me to tell this story. She then said, among other things, "You are exactly where God wants you. Your district chose you because they believe in you, and so do I." The next month, I went viral for the first of many times to come for hitting Republicans with a dose of their own medicine. That brief but impactful interaction gave me my legislative legs, and I've been running ever since.
Now, as many things as we can credit Kamala Harris with, as deep as her resume happens to be, being responsible for keeping Jasmine Crockett in Congress has to be right up there at the top. That has changed my life more than World Star did. I said did. Yeah, I'm off that now. Yeah, I just go down to U Street.
The question before us is, will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision?
Yeah, there it is. Play it again.
The question before us is, will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision?
She did it again.
If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
I bet Trump don't even know that many V words. And also, he calls them V words.
For a better America or not, I hear alliterations are back in style.
Yeah, because of you.
We deserve better. We deserve a president who can be a bright light in a sea of darkness, one who will pull us forward, because we won't go back. Amanda Gorman said it best: there's always light if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Kamala Harris showed me that light. And America, when she is our president, together we will shine as that beacon of hope and freedom around the world once more. God bless y'all.
Thank you, Jasmine Crockett. And also, thank you, Kamala Harris. And thank you, Texas, for giving us Jasmine Crockett. And thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for being the Washington Generals in this feud. And I didn't even get to Gwen Walls. If you don't cheer for me like Gwen Walls, I don't want it. There was Raphael Warnock taking everybody to church.
I need my neighbor's children to be okay so that my children will be okay. I need all of my neighbor's children to be okay. Poor inner city children in Atlanta and poor children of Appalachia. I need the poor children of Israel and the poor children of Gaza. I need Israelis and Palestinians. I need those in the Congo, those in Haiti, those in Ukraine. I need American children on both sides of the track to be okay. Because we are all God's children. And so let's stand together. Let's work together. Let's organize together. Let's pray together. Let's stand together. Let's heal the land. God bless you. Keep the faith.
There was Charlie Kirk getting kicked out like it was a church. AOC speech was fantastic. I'm gonna have stuff all week long, so keep it locked to the channel. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Huh? Elon Musk is interviewing Trump on all Twitter? Nah, I'm out. Nah, I ain't messed with Twitter since KFC posted that chicken fist. They got a whole promo? Okay, now you got my attention, but looks like the European Union has issued a formal letter to Elon Musk demanding that he censor Donald Trump in their upcoming interview. Do you know how big of a liar you gotta be to have an entire block of countries to write a letter? We don't agree on poverty, we don't agree on taxes, we don't agree on nationalism, but we all agree he be lying. Well, this certainly can't get any worse. No, that can't be right. No, that's not. Hey, change the channel. No, just change it. You know what? Blow on it. Blow on it like a Nintendo cartridge. Come on, Twitter. Come on, Twitter. Come on, Twitter. No, you got to hold the select button when you restart it. Yeah, hold the select button. You mean to tell me the tech genius came to Twitter and couldn't get a live stream to work? I just did a live today. Worked fine for me. What you gonna tell me next? The man in charge of SpaceX just had the Cybertruck recalled for the 4th time? And it looks that way on purpose? Tell him to call Dr. Umar, because his lives be fire. By the way, what happened? Oh, I get it. So the attack just happened to coincide with Trump coming back. Are you sure he didn't do it? No, because his stocks stay crashing. And then his real estate empire crashed, his university crashed, his legal defense crashed, his hairline crashed. You know what? That's a good point. That's a fair point, because ever since Elon has been in charge, Twitter's been working like Tommy from Martin. Well, what is it showing right now? Well done. You know what? Why don't y'all try YouTube? Oh, I love it. I bet Ron DeSantis did this. You're not gonna clown my shoes and then turn around and invite Rudy Giuliani to the convention. He be wearing boats. That's probably why he fell. Oh, they got it up now? He is not taking this very well. Well, I wouldn't either, because then I would have to be Donald Trump.
And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run. Sure. And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing.
At this time, I would like to have a moment of silence for the states with no sun and no water.
There are a lot of advantages that some people have, but if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
Whatever happened to No States Left Behind? I grew up with that program. It clearly didn't work, though.
To happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board.
That's an old quote. See, nothing used to go that low, but you keep talking, Trump. We'll find something. Here I am thinking that this couldn't get any better than the whole thing not working. But we get that and more insults.
But he has to turn them into important gifts. He has to hammer away, does he not? I mean, that's what he... Don't wander off. Don't call her stupid and all kinds of names. Stay on message.
The winning formula for President Trump is very plain to see. It's fewer insults, more insight.
This is manna from heaven. Keep them talking, Elon. Elon Musk, are you really working for the left?
Because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that...
Now, Elon Musk, I know you're going to have to check him because you captain free speech. You going to say something? No, you just going to throw that whole free speech thing in the garbage along with this whole live stream? I love it.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, "That's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone." So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it.
Wait, what?
And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, "That's okay. You're all gone."
Do you know what a lunatic you have to be to take a compliment and turn that into, "Yeah, and I like the way you destroy people's lives"? You know, you have a lovely smile. Who's your dentist? Oh, I'll send you his info. You have a lovely laugh, especially when you laugh at poor people. Firing people for standing up for workers' rights. How's that Teamster speech going over from the convention? Looks like the hotel was right. Now I gotta stop us right here. Does Trump sound a little off to you?
She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right, but of course she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
You mean this picture? You think the Camilla in this picture looks like Melania? No wonder you kept cheating. You don't know people's names or even what they look like. But clearly you have outed your hostility towards Kamala Harris. This ain't nothing but a whole schoolyard crush. Y'all got Lou Holtz trending? They got Lou Holtz trending.
Well, I don't get they bring the income.
And Elon was doing the interview, so he couldn't delete the trend like he does everything else he don't like. That is savage. He gonna cry in the car or in Jeffrey's jet. Even AI is dragging Trump. They bored AI. So let me get this straight. So Trump abandons Truth Social, throws all his investors under the bus for this big comeback to Twitter, only to have technical difficulties. Meanwhile, Elon Musk outs himself as working exclusively for the right wing, completely throws all that free speech nonsense in the garbage, for technical difficulties. This is amazing. This is even worse than that Don Lemon fiasco.
If you look at history, if you study history broadly, everyone was a slave. Everyone. We are all descended from slaves.
Yeah.
Well, all of us.
Yeah.
It's just a question of when. What advantages did it do? What color my skin give me? Well, if we keep talking about it nonstop, it will never go away.
This is even worse than getting lit up publicly by your daughter, who you claimed in an interview was dead. And I quote, "I understand your new angle is this Western values Christian family man thing, but it's such a weird choice. You're not a family man. You are a serial adulterer who won't stop effing lying about your own children. You're not a Christian. As far as I'm aware, you've never stepped foot in a church. You're not some bastion for equality and progress. You called Arabic the language of the enemy when I was 6 and have been sued for discrimination multiple times and are from apartheid South Africa. You're not saving the planet. You do not give a F about climate change, and you're lying about multiplanetary civilization as both an excuse and because you want to seem like the CEO from Ready Player One. I would mention the birth rate stuff, but I'm not touching that weird 14 words breeder S with a 10-foot pole. You single-handedly disillusion me with how gullible we are as a species because somehow people keep believing you for reasons that continue to evade me." Yeah, Tech Bros, that's what his daughter thinks, but of course, you know better. You got a Tesla. This is bad. I couldn't think of anything making Elon Musk or Twitter look any worse. However, at the end of the day, they still look better than Trump. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
And that brings us to the biggest threat, which is that many of these MAGA cult members have been able to obtain roles as county election officials who will have a role in certifying state election results. Because when you're a spoiled rich boy who's been handed everything he's ever had in life, why work hard when you can have your henchmen just hand you the election?
Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Huh? Oh, that? Oh, yeah, there's a Patriots jersey back there. You'll find out why.
And unlike Harris, who's been crisscrossing the country holding events in battleground states, Trump has mainly stayed at his Florida mansion, choosing to golf rather than campaign. If you didn't know any better, it would seem like Trump doesn't even want to win the election. It is hard to believe, because beyond his own ego, the stakes could not be higher for him, with the real possibility that he could go to prison if he loses as a result of his numerous criminal trials. With his very freedom at stake, you'd think he'd want to run the best campaign anyone has ever seen.
This is all very true. At the same time, I don't know how many different gears Donald Trump has. I think meltdown mode is pretty much standard issue. Like, you have to play the game for years before you get to a point where you get a patch where you get like a different mode. Like, I don't think I don't think there's been enough time that humans have been in existence for us to download a different mode Donald Trump.
That is, unless he thinks he doesn't even have to actually win on November 5th to become president. As The Guardian lays it out, it appears that Trump could once again attempt to try to steal the election if he loses, having learned from his 2020 failed endeavor and coming to the table better prepared this time. The Guardian points out the Republican National Committee's election litigation team is now being led by Christina Bobb, an election denier who is now facing criminal charges for her efforts to overturn the 2020 race.
You know, years from now, I am going to sit my grandkids over my knee, God willing, and tell them about a time where you couldn't have anybody in charge of your election team with charges. Or a candidate with charges. Oh, those were the days.
The RNC claims it is recruiting an army of 100,000 poll observers who could provide significant disruption during voting and counting. But more significantly, the idea that the 2020 election was stolen has moved from the fringes to becoming a pillar of the Republican Party.
One thing that always struck me as odd about these election deniers, how come they never deny any elections that they won? Huh? They never deny any elections that they won. They don't deny none of the congressmen or senators that are election deniers have shaken any faith in their own elections. Don't you find that weird? So apparently we were split up until 2020. Now all of a sudden you just win everything. Is that what I understand? Now I believe these people really come in two brands. You have your election denier who legitimately thinks that the election was stolen, and you have your election denier who doesn't care if the election was stolen, probably knows that it wasn't, but wants to do whatever they possibly can in order to put Republicans in power. Now, who you really need to be concerned about is B, because the people who legitimately think that the election was stolen, as slow as they may be, no amount of watching is going to invent a stolen election. When he gets his orange busted again, they will have no recourse. But B, mind you, it's kind of like being with a suspicious partner. Is she suspicious because you always coming home late? Or is she suspicious because that's her personality?
And that brings us to the biggest threat, which is that many of these MAGA cult members have been able to obtain roles as county election officials who will have a role in certifying state election results. In a new report from the watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, titled Election Certification Under Threat, they point out that since 2020, more than 30 county officials across the country have voted to deny or delay certifying election results in violation of law, often citing false claims of voter fraud or irregularities. Among those, officials are avowed 2020 election deniers, individuals who acted as fake presidential electors for Donald Trump, and a criminally convicted participant in the January 6th insurrection who was later removed from office.
Now, as annoyed as this makes me, the fact that people who hold these wild beliefs can find themselves in position to actually slow down and be problematic during a presidential election makes me wonder if we even deserve to continue our democracy. These are the people that we are tasked with finishing our group project.
And in the swing states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Rolling Stone magazine and the independent journalist at a Substack called American Doom identified nearly 70 pro-Trump election conspiracists currently working as county election officials who have questioned the validity of elections or delayed or refused to certify results. Perhaps all of this explains why Trump doesn't appear to be taking this campaign too seriously.
And if you recall, in that leak of Roger Stone,
Rod should hold a press conference today and call for Trump's impeachment. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I'm going to do it. I'm supporting impeachment. I'm supporting impeachment. He must be removed. His son Jared must be prosecuted. I want to know how money changed hands on Bannon. I want a federal investigation. I'm filing a complaint with the FBI this afternoon. Fuck these people. Fuck these people. Right. So, right, exactly. Which is why I'm for the impeachment. I want impeachment. I'm going to work very hard for it. I'm not kidding. He betrayed Bernie, betrayed Rudy, he betrayed everybody. So he has to go. He has to go. Run again. You'll get your fucking brains beat in. Right, which is good, unfortunately, for Pat, because he's easy to find. Fuck these people. Let's be very clear. There is no Bannon, cocksucker. It's one sentence. So if you're in a meeting and he says that, you punch him in the mouth as hard as you can to make your point. It's one sentence. We're not stupid. There is no paperwork, you cocksucker. He needs to be impeached. He needs to be denounced and impeached. The greatest single mistake in American history. Greatest single mistake. He's surrounded by morons, and he surrounded himself by morons. And a good long sentence in prison, he'll give him a chance to think about it. Because the Southern District's coming for him, and he did nothing. You want to fight? Let's fight. Fuck you. Fuck you and your abortionist bitch daughter.
No, the other leak. Go to the other leak.
But at least this time, when they do it, you have a lawyer and a judge whose home phone number standing by so you can stop it. We made no preparations last time. None.
I was at the Capitol, so I'm prepared to go back.
Well, that may not be necessary. There are technical and legal steps that we have to take to try to have a more honest election. We're not there yet, but there are things that can be done. It's a long conversation. I'm working with changes in state law, real-time voter list monitoring, going to court as we just did to challenge some of the voter lists. The election's not tomorrow. We went into court to sue in Michigan over the handling of ballots, which we sued in half a dozen places. And we're finally now on an offensive footing.
When I reacted to that video, like many of you, I pointed to this very real possibility that this is what they had planned.
Because when you're a spoiled rich boy who's been handed everything he's ever had in life, why work hard when you can have your henchmen just hand you the election?
Eat, Joy, eat! Here's a moment I just want to take some time out for a personal pet peeve of mine, because it always drives me up an absolute wall when the people that have the most privilege have to do the least, and then have the nerve to turn the rest of us and say, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. You don't even know how to tie boots. They were always tied for you.
And here's the evidence that he might think that too. Here's Donald Trump many times saying, we don't need votes.
I tell my people, I don't need any votes. We got all the votes we need. I don't need votes. We don't need votes. We don't need votes. We got more votes than anybody's ever had. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians.
Now, I did a whole video about the media giving him a free pass for the you don't have to vote thing. But just to add a little bit more validity to this report, these are what the polls are looking like right now, as he's saying, you don't have to vote.
We know that 4 years ago, Donald Trump tried to keep himself in power despite losing the election. We know that he's never disavowed what he did then. And we know now that county officials are going to try to avoid certifying the election. We've now, in the report that we just put out, we documented more than 30 of them who are in place now, who have previously failed to certify elections. These were elections in 2022, 2023, often not particularly consequential elections.
Sure.
They were doing it as a run-through before the real event, which is this fall.
I also have to wonder, and I have expressed my frustration with the left continually being on the back foot when it comes to the right skullduggery. What safeguards were put in place to prevent this kind of nonsense? We had 4 years and all of the executive powers. You know, speaking of which, didn't the Supreme Court just essentially make the president the king? Hey, Biden.
So what happens is you have a set of deadlines where counties need to certify by a certain date, then the state needs to certify by a certain date, then there's a date where the Electoral College needs to vote, and then Congress needs to vote. Once you start pushing those back, and if Fulton County in Georgia or other counties are not certifying, then it gets to usually first the Secretary of State and eventually the governor, who has a deadline to certify the state's votes, but they may not have final tallies from the counties. And that could cause a pileup of the whole system.
Yeah.
It's not entirely clear what that looks like, but
Sure.
it certainly would give an opening for Congress to do things that we may not want them doing, other than just merely counting the votes that actually went through.
Or it ends up in court, right? We end up with litigation. Let's say Georgia ends up in huge litigation, and then somehow or other, nobody gets 270 because one state can't get their votes in time. That then goes to the House of Representatives. Republicans control 26 states. Democrats control 23. They just vote 26-23 and make Trump the president. Kamala Harris could win by 12 million votes and it wouldn't matter. Congress would just decide. And then the other option is it goes to the Supreme Court. And we all know what John Roberts will do. He and his 5 friends will make Donald Trump the president. So 6 people could make Trump president, or 26 Congress members, or 26 states.
Which brings me to the reason why that jersey is behind there. So essentially what she has laid out is a plan that could bog down the system, subjugate the will of the people, whatever that may be, so that your side can maintain power, so that these 26 or these Supreme Court justices can decide who will lead this country. And I have to ask, what part of patriotism, what part of America, what part of democracy is that? Yet at the same time, these are the people who have the market cornered on patriotism. These are the people who always want to talk about 1776. These are the people with the flags all over their house. These fake patriots are trying to take over our democracy, and at the same time don't have to suffer the slings and arrows of being anti-American. And that is patently unacceptable.
I mean, the good news is that what these county officials are likely to try to do is clearly illegal. And every one of these states have mechanisms to stop that from happening. And actually, a lot of states like Michigan have officials who are getting out there. The Secretary of State of Michigan has sent letters to these county officials saying, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And if you do it, there will be consequences.
Sure.
The worrisome part is in a place like Georgia, where instead you have the state election board seeming to encourage this kind of activity, even though it's against the law.
These people are no more patriots than whoever made that jersey. And it is time we started talking down on them as such. And to think, we have to deal with all of this because he's too immature to accept he lost anything, ever. Because we got a man who was so childish as to think that he knows more about science than the scientists. He knows more about foreign policy than the diplomats. He knows more about golf than the golfers. He knows more about medicine than the doctors. If there was anybody else in our society who told you that, we would ask them if they would like a sandwich while you pass them on your way into Subway. But if it's Donald Trump, not only is he in position to become the president of the United States again, but he has a sycophant of people listening to this fourth grader yelling from the top of the slide that he's king of the world. And that is why I'm troubled. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com. To you all that are wearing your red hats and talk about how much America is the greatest country that ever lived, what part of America First is this? Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Hill Harper told you what it was.
Oh, I saw that somewhere where they offered you, I didn't know how much it was, but you said $20 million to go against Rashida Tlaib or talk down on her? What was it?
No, to run against her. So the idea would be I'm running for United States Senate.
Yep.
And I'm running against one of their candidates that they back. So AIPAC backs my opponent. Okay. So they would get a twofer. Rashida Tlaib is the public enemy number one for them.
Yep.
Right? They just got rid of Jamal Bowman.
Yep.
Right? So but she's even more targeted.
And Cori Bush, they got to target on Cori Bush.
They're going after Cori Bush. And so the guy down in Missouri took the deal same deal I was offered. So Wesley Bell was running for U.S. Senate down there in Missouri. He took the deal, left the Senate race, and ran against Cori Bush.
He described Wesley Bell, congressional candidate in Missouri, opting to leave one race and enter another backed by pro-Israel super PAC AIPAC, or American Israel Public Affairs Committee, because they don't like Congresswoman Cori Bush's calls for justice and transparency in Gaza, and dropping an absolute bag to do it. Now, I don't know Wesley Bell, but based on what's come out and I've heard since, like this denial that he wouldn't even run when the report previously came out.
There's some stuff that I know because I just from being in this game long enough. Those are their Holloman is a hack. He is a hack. And the proof of it is name one legitimate reporter that one he think even close to that. Like, this is stupid.
Exactly. No, you're right.
Don't even think for even a second that that's the case. And I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you on my word, he's not running into shit. That is not happening.
So, Ren, this is audio of Bell telling Bush that Holloman was a, quote, hack.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one for me to ignore. As they say, the internet is forever, Wesley. But still, despite that, AIPAC's bag was enough and he emerged victorious. Just think about that. Despite there being smoke to emerge that an Israeli-backed super PAC was dumping money into a Missouri congressional race, they still won. And now you know why this trend continues, because it's proven to be quite effective. Even, mind you, when it's seen beforehand. And after losing her Democratic primary re-election bid, Cori Bush did not hold back in targeting those she blames for her defeat.
Pulling me away from my position as Congresswoman. All you did was take some of the strings off. But all they did was radicalize me, and so now they be afraid. I don't think that anything. There is nothing that happens in my life that happens in vain. So if this happened, it's because it was meant to happen. And let me say, it's because of the work that I need to do.
Man, I ain't seen nothing like that since Tory Lanez father after Tory got convicted in Megan Thee Stallion shooting.
In the LAPD's office, tell me how there's no fingerprints. My God Almighty, I call heaven and earth to be a record today. That Rock Nation, you will crumble. I am an apostle of God, and you will know who I am.
Now, hopefully, Cori Bush's revenge fares better because Rock Nation ain't crumbled. Freedom, I can't lose. Freedom. But this is real, and we've seen it before, just recently, in fact. Bush's defeat came shortly after the same super PAC undefeated Congressman Jamal Bowman in New York.
We are going to show fucking AIPAC the power of the motherfucking South Bronx. People ask me why I got a foul mouth. What am I supposed to do? You coming after me. You coming after my family. You coming after my children. I'm not supposed to fight back. I'm not supposed to fight back. We're going to show them who the f we are.
Yeah, we got a better video of him. Like, you got one where he got a collared shirt? No, because it looked like he running for the mayor of Cell Block D. Bowman v. Latimer marked the most costly primary of 2024, making 2 victories over left-wing squad members amid the contentious Gaza conflict. Patrick Dorton, a spokesperson for the United Democracy Project, the super PAC behind the efforts, commented, "Being anti-Israel is bad politics. Bush's race shows, just like Bowman too, that when you get disconnected from your district and adopt a fringe anti-Israel out of the mainstream agenda, you lose support." Now, both Bush and Bowman were vocal critics of Israel's actions in Gaza, with Bush among the first to call for a ceasefire and urge the U.S. to end its support for Israeli military policies. Now, let's go back to that quote again. He talked about being disconnected from your district. I'm wondering, what part of your stance on Gaza makes you disconnected from your district? And why would that be something that's a fatal flaw in Missouri? Also, the fact that he framed both Bowman and Cori Bush as being anti-Israel. I want to repeat what I said about Bush being among the first to call for a ceasefire and urge the U.S. to end its support for Israeli military policies. So I guess not actively supporting them and giving them a blank check and having nothing to do with how they use said money makes you anti that person. I told you, I'm anti a whole lot of people, apparently. Pretty much everybody but my kids. Now, AIPAC did try and cover their tracks, criticizing both Bush and Bowman for their stances on Israel, but most of its ads focused on other issues like their votes against President Biden's 2021 infrastructure bill. AIPAC's super PAC spent $8.6 million in the Wesley Bell Cori Bush fiasco, mainly targeting her record on infrastructure. Bell's campaign didn't heavily focus on Israel, but emphasized local issues and his progressive credentials. Now, while both Bowman and Bush were critics of Israel, their primaries had distinct elements, like, for instance, abortion was a significant issue in Missouri, with Bush highlighting her personal experience while Bell underscored his stance against prosecuting abortion cases. Now, here's the thing. It is predictable and quite seasoned of them to not focus specifically on Israel, but attack them in other ways. But you can't have it both ways. If you are the American-Israeli relations super PAC, then why does their stance on Biden's 2021 infrastructure bill interest you. You can't have it both ways. If you want to attack them for other reasons, then you are clearly operating out of the bounds of the American-Israeli relations super PAC. However, if you want to stick specifically until your issues at hand, I'm wondering why you're dumping money into these congressional races in Missouri and New York. Now, as the primary season nears its end, the United Democracy Project hasn't specified future plans, but affirmed its commitment to supporting leaders who bolster the U.S.-Israel alliance while opposing critics within both parties. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is the next squad member facing a primary challenge, but United Democracy Project hasn't engaged in her race. Despite this, her opponent Don Samuels believes national groups are missing an opportunity to challenge Omar. Even still, some liberal groups are increasingly critical of AIPAC. Justice Democrats Executive Director Alexandra Rojas compared AIPAC to the National Rifle Association, suggesting it might become a pariah within the Democratic Party due to its extreme support for right-wing positions. And hold that thought. House Democratic leaders, including Minority Whip Catherine Clark, supported both incumbents, but the White House refrained from commenting on AIPAC's involvement, but criticized Bush's rhetoric for being inflammatory and divisive. You know, like a ceasefire. In addition to the Democratic primaries, United Democracy Project has also succeeded in Republican contests, with their biggest victory perhaps coming at the RNC convention.
Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Let me hear you cheer if you support Israel. Now, if someone tried that at the Democrats' convention, they'd be booed off the stage. But here, at the Republican convention, we proudly and loudly stand with Israel.
Do you remember that whole thing about the quote that came from the super PAC saying when you adopt fringe positions that disconnect you from your district, it becomes a problem when it comes time to get reelected? That's actually kind of funny, because in just selecting her VP, Kamala Harris had to be conscious of a significant faction of the left wing in favor of a ceasefire and currently uncommitted in this upcoming presidential election. That doesn't sound very disconnected as far as I'm concerned. Now, this presents a number of issues, but let's get to the first one. What is one of the first issues that people say they have with politicians? They're bought and sold, they're compromised. Well, what happens when you have a super PAC that dumps a ton of money to get you elected based specifically on one issue? You literally enter the halls. You walk in on day one compromised. Like, I don't know why they would wear anything other than an AIPAC t-shirt with Latimer and Bell, because we can't see them or receive them in any other way. And the ironic thing is AIPAC is actually not the problem here. It's Citizens United. AIPAC is not breaking the rules. They're working within the rules that we have allowed, where these super PACs are able to pool their money and specifically target politicians. And that's how we have all this money flooding into politics. And we wonder why we can't get anything done on guns. And we can't wonder why we can't get anything done on Israel. We wonder why we can't get anything done on this issue or that issue. Citizens United, that is exactly why. Now, I also would like to take a little detour over to MAGA. I don't necessarily subscribe to the ultra nationalist, America first, America next, America last, America everything. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. But to you all that are wearing your red hats and talk about how much America is the greatest country that ever lived, and talk about how we need to build back business here and how we need to stop getting ourselves involved in foreign affairs. This isn't a problem for y'all? This isn't a problem for y'all. I'm just curious. I'm wondering what part of America first is this? What part of America first is this? Now, granted, this isn't your first hypocrisy, right? This isn't your first time at the hypocrisy ball. There's the fact that you say that you back the blue, and apparently that's a 34-time felon. There's the fact that the whole Christian nationalist movement has decided to position themselves behind a man with 26 credible allegations and who we know paid off a porn star when he was cheating with his wife who was pregnant at the time. And then there is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend saying that liberal women were ugly.
Liberal women tend to be some of the ugliest women I've ever seen.
There's a whole lot of hypocrisy. I know at this point you're pretty comfortable contradicting yourselves, but this one is particularly bad, which brings me to problem number 2.
Your actions prove that you have a lot of talk, but not a lot of results.
You're the number one recipient of AIPAC money in the country.
And why do you think that
is? AIPAC is funded by right-wing Republicans who want to destroy our democracy.
AIPAC is funded.
Right-wing Republicans like Paul Singer and Bernie Marcus who are attacking abortion rights across the country.
Here's a list of the top donors to AIPAC from January 1st, 2023 through January 23rd, 2024. The largest donor has been Jan Koum, the billionaire founder of WhatsApp, and the largest donor to the pro-Nikki Haley super PAC SFA fund. Another large donor, David Zolik, has also been a Haley supporter. He donated more than $80,000 to Haley's campaign, super PAC, and joint fundraising committee last year, according to FEC records. He's also donated this year to the campaigns of Texas Republicans Mike McCall and Senator Ted Cruz. I'm sensing a theme here. You know, as long as Citizens United is in place, there is nothing to stop right-wing money from flooding in and influencing left-wing races, which gives you an elephant walking the halls of Congress in donkey clothing. And that's why I'm troubled. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready. Our job for everyone watching is to get in the trenches and do the blocking and tackling. 1 inch at a time, 1 yard at a time, 1 phone call at a time, 1 door knock at a time, 1 $5 donation at a time.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. On a night where Bill Clinton and Oprah Winfrey and Amanda Gorman and Nancy Pelosi and Stevie Wonder, Sheila E., Pete Buttigieg, Wes Moore, all went, as the kids say, Super Saiyan. Or if you're a little older, ham. Or if you're a little older, out of sight. Or if you're a little older, the cat's meow or the bee's knees. They were all good. They were all phenomenal. I have coverage of all of those speeches, by the way. I'm going to be putting out a ton of content over the course of the next couple days, so keep it locked to the channel. I was wondering, how in the world is Tim Walz going to top that? You know what he did?
Thank you.
By the way, that timestamp you see right there that says 11:23, that is accurate. I know that the bench is deep. I know you have a lot of people to work through. Well, you gonna have to start earlier. No, because we can't be doing this. No, we can't be doing this. Probably pick up a couple of votes.
Thank you. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you, first of all, to Vice President Harris. Thanks for putting your trust in me and for inviting me to be part of this incredible campaign. And a thank you to President Joe Biden for 4 years of strong, historic leadership. It's the honor of my life to accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
Now I'm behind Coach Waltz, and I'm behind Kamala Harris all the way. This is just the comedian in me. That would have been funny if he would have came out and said, "I don't accept." I'm just if he would have came out, was like, "I'm sorry, I don't accept." But I'm gonna give a speech anyway.
We're all here tonight for one beautiful, simple reason. We love this country. So thank you to all of you here in Chicago and all of you watching at home tonight. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your determination. And most of all, thank you for bringing the joy to this fight. Now, I grew up in Butte, Nebraska, a town of 400 people. I had 24 kids in my high school class, and none of them went to Yale. But I'll tell you what, growing up in a small town like that, you learn how to take care of each other. That family down the road, they may not think like you do. They may not pray like you do. They may not love like you do, but they're your neighbors. And you look out for them, and they look out for you. Everybody belongs, and everybody has a responsibility to contribute. For me, it was serving in the Army National Guard. I joined up 2 days after my 17th birthday, and I proudly wore our nation's uniform for 24 years. My dad, a Korean War-era Army veteran, died of lung cancer a couple years later. He left behind a mountain of medical debt. Thank God for Social Security survivor benefits. And thank God for the GI Bill that allowed my dad and me to go to college, and millions of other Americans. Eventually, like the rest of my family, I fell in love with teaching. Three out of 4 of us married teachers.
I just thought this would be a moment to toss in my 2 cents that the teacher pool is solid. I'm out the game. I'm just passing on my knowledge.
I wound up teaching social studies and coaching football at Mankato West High School. Go Scarlets! We ran a 44 defense. We played through to the whistle on every single play, and we even won a state championship. Never closed the yearbook, people. But it was those players and my students who inspired me to run for Congress. They saw in me what I had hoped to instill in them, a commitment to the common good, an understanding that we're all in this together, and the belief that a single person can make a real difference for their neighbors. So there I was, a 40-something high school teacher with little kids, 0 political experience, and no money running in a deep red district. But you know what? Never underestimate a public school teacher. Never.
Oh no. I have seen Dangerous Minds. They can do anything.
I represented my neighbors in Congress for 12 years, and I learned an awful lot. I learned how to work across the aisle on issues like growing the rural economies and taking care of veterans. And I learned how to compromise without compromising my values. Then I came back to serve as governor, and we got right to work, making a difference in our neighbors' lives. We cut taxes for the middle class. We passed paid family and medical leave. We invested in fighting crime and affordable housing. We cut the cost of prescription drugs and helped people escape the kind of medical debt that nearly sank my family. And we made sure that every kid in our state gets breakfast and lunch every day. So while other states were banning books from their schools, we were banishing hunger from ours.
Bars. That's called bars. You know nothing about that.
We also protected reproductive freedom because in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. And even if we wouldn't make those same choices for ourselves, we've got a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
Now, I'm definitely going to circle back to his son Gus there, but I just wanted to point out his son shaking his head and clapping at mind your own damn business. I don't know if that flies in the home. I'm just, it wouldn't have been mine. Is that a shoe coming my direction?
And that includes IVF and fertility treatments. And this is personal for Gwen and I. If you've never experienced the hell that is infertility, I guarantee you, you know somebody who has. And I can remember praying each night for a phone call. The pit in your stomach when the phone had rang, and the absolute agony when we heard the treatments hadn't worked. It took Gwen and I years, but we had access to fertility treatments. And when our daughter was born, we named her Hope. Hope, Gus, and Gwen, you are my entire world, and I love you. I'm letting you in on how we started a family.
You can't tell me that didn't mean something to you watching how proud his son was of seeing his dad up there giving that speech. I mean, really, as a new father, my son is 1. My goals, life goals, is to have my kids sit there and be that proud of me.
Because this is a big part about what this election is about. Freedom. When Republicans use the word freedom, they mean that the government should be free to invade your doctor's office. Corporations, free to pollute your air and water. And banks, free to take advantage of customers. But when we Democrats talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make a better life for yourself and the people that you love. Freedom to make your own health care decisions. And yeah, your kids' freedom to go to school without worrying about being shot dead in the hall. Look, I know guns. I'm a veteran. I'm a hunter. And I was a better shot than most Republicans in Congress, and I got the trophies to prove it.
Talk to him, Tim. to him, Tim. Y'all know Ted Cruz can't shoot.
But I'm also a dad. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also believe our first responsibility is to keep our kids safe. That's what this is all about. The responsibility we have to our kids, to each other, and to the future that we're building together, in which everyone is free to build the kind of life they want. But not everyone has that same sense of responsibility. Some folks just don't understand what it takes to be a good neighbor.
I can name some names. Y'all need names? I got a lot of them. Starting with you, Miss Jenkins.
Take Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Their Project 2025 will make things much, much harder for people who are just trying to live their lives. They spent a lot of time pretending they know nothing about this. But look, I coached high school football long enough to know, and trust me on this, when somebody takes the time to draw up a playbook, they're going to use it. And we know if these guys get back in the White House, they'll start jacking up the costs on the middle class, they'll repeal the Affordable Care Act, they'll gut Social Security and Medicare, and they will ban abortion across this country with or without Congress. Here's the thing. It's an agenda nobody asked for. It's an agenda that serves nobody except the richest and the most extreme amongst us. And it's an agenda that does nothing for our neighbors in need. Is it weird? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also wrong. And it's dangerous. It's not just me saying so. It's Trump's own people. They were with him for 4 years. They're warning us that the next 4 years will be much, much worse.
This is something that needs to be talked about and talked about and talked about and talked about. You didn't just have Republicans here at the DNC convention speaking out against Trump, MAGA, in 2025. You have a litany of people in his administration who refused to endorse him this time around.
I wasn't just a Trump supporter. I was a true believer. I was one of his closest advisors. The Trump family became my family. I spent Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all at Mar-a-Lago. I saw him when the cameras were off. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him.
You tell me how your Trump mudflaps and the flag outside your home that says MAGA gives you better insight into who this man is than his entire senior staff the last time he was in the White House. Make that make sense. Let me tell you about Brian. He ain't no good. We were together for 10 years, and I can tell you about all the stuff. Now, let me stop you right there. I own a Brian t-shirt, and I disagree.
You know, when I was teaching every year, we'd elect a student body president. And you know what? Those teenagers could teach Donald Trump a hell of a lot about what a leader is. Leaders don't spend all day insulting people and blaming others.
You know, I told my high school basketball coach that one time after he called me a scrub. He cut me from the team.
Leaders do the work. So I don't know about you. I'm ready to turn the page on these guys. So go ahead. Say it with me. We're not going back. We've got something better to offer the American people. It starts with our candidate, Kamala Harris. From her first day as a prosecutor, as a district attorney, as an attorney general, as a United States senator, and then our vice president, she's fought on the side of the American people. She's taken on the predators and fraudsters. She's taken down the transnational gangs, and she stood up to powerful corporate interests. She has never hesitated to reach across that aisle if it meant improving your lives. And she's always done it with energy, with passion, and with joy. Folks, we've got a chance to make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. But I think we owe it to the American people to tell them exactly what she'd do as president before we ask them for their votes. So here, this is the part, clip and save it and send it to your undecided relatives so they know. If you're a middle-class family or a family trying to get into the middle class, Kamala Harris is going to cut your taxes. If you're getting squeezed by prescription drug prices, Kamala Harris is going to take on Big Pharma. If you're hoping to buy a home, Kamala Harris is going to help make it more affordable. And no matter who you are, Kamala Harris is going to stand up and fight for your freedom to live the life that you want to lead. Because that's what we want for ourselves, and it's what we want for our neighbors. You know, you might not know it, but I haven't given a lot of big speeches like this. But I have given a lot of pep talks. So let me finish with this, team. It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal.
Who's the quarterback? Huh? Who's the quarterback? Are we talking about Patrick Mahomes or Bo Nix?
We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready. Our job for everyone watching is to get in the trenches and do the blocking and tackling. 1 inch at a time, 1 yard at a time, 1 phone call at a time, 1 door knock at a time, 1 $5 donation at a time.
Now, I might be biased, I'm definitely biased as a sports fan for being susceptible to this kind of pep talk and understanding exactly the context that he's speaking from. This is amazing. I love the way that he talked about doing the blocking and tackling. It's the little work. It's the stuff that Michelle Obama was talking about last night.
If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we gotta pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what? We only have 2.5 months, y'all, to get this done. Only 11 weeks to make sure every single person we know is registered and has a voting plan. So, we cannot afford for anyone America to sit on their hands and wait to be called. Don't complain if no one from the campaign has specifically reached out to you to ask you for your support. There is simply no time for that kind of foolishness.
We got 76 days. That's nothing. There'll be time to sleep when you're dead. We're going to leave it on the field. That's how we'll keep moving forward. That's how we'll turn the page on Donald Trump. That's how we'll build a country where workers come first. Healthcare and housing are human rights. And the government stays the hell out of your bedroom.
Not just the government. I got some more people I want to stay out also.
That's how we make America a place where no child is left hungry, where no community is left behind, where nobody gets told they don't belong. That's how we're gonna fight. And as the next president of the United States always says, when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, thank you. God bless.
I got chills listening to that speech. It was that fire. And shout out to his family. I am a Gwen stan. I'm a Gwen Wall stan. I can tell you that right now. I think I mentioned it in the Barack Obama video. She is so in on this entire thing. She ain't there. She ain't there just to support. No. She's there fully. And I'm here for it, as are the kids. I am all in, Coach Waltz. Put me in. But I'm trying to do my part. I got content coming out all throughout the day and tomorrow about all the goings on at the DNC, so keep it locked to the channel right here at Reese Waters. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
Why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families?
There's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
But since you have opted to get in somebody else's business and attack a woman for accusations of sleeping around, as a black woman yourself, a noted MO of the Pick Me, I have to ask myself, where's your black family?
And I gotta tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy. That is if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, you see what I did there?
All right, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. And you know why I'm troubled? Because y'all keep messaging me about this speech in Atlanta. I did not want to watch any of this. And like, y'all message me all the time. Y'all be like, hey, Reese, I love you, but I can't listen to Trump talk no more. Reese, I love you, but if Byron Donalds open his mouth one more time, fly's gonna jump out. Reese, why don't you give me a warning when you gonna show Laura Loomer's face? I need a jump scare. I need a trigger warning. I don't understand how y'all can tell me y'all don't want to watch something and y'all gonna keep messaging me about this speech in Atlanta. Now, oftentimes I feel like I have to watch a lot of this craziness just so I can chronicle the crazy, because they can't just get away with this nonsense. We are trying to build a more perfect union. But when they told me that Donald Trump was having a rally in Atlanta, I said, nothing good can come from me watching that. And nothing can good. It'd be like, hey, you want to watch the Patriots Cowboys? Hey, you want to watch the Celtics play the Proud Boys? No matter what happens, I cannot leave that feeling good about myself. So when I saw that Michaela Montgomery was trending, I knew something was horribly wrong. I knew something was horribly wrong. Because y'all remember the last time she was trending.
I don't care what the media tells you, Mr. Trump. We support you.
We love you.
Okay, 4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
Please
Okay, all right. The only other time she was trending. For those of you that don't know, Michaela Montgomery is the poor man's Candace Owens, a Rudy Giuliani's Candace Owens, if you will, who Donald Trump brought in to help manufacture the Atlanta chapter of fake black support. I did a whole video about it a while back. you know, the kind of fake support you engender by placing a bunch of black people behind the speaker at this very same event.
It reminds me of the group Milli Vanilli. Do y'all remember Milli Vanilli? You know, it was two guys. They were, you know, claimed to be R&B German artists, even though they had British accents, and they were born in Madrid or something like that. But sound a little bit like Kamala. But what was funny is you know, they fooled the country for about 4 years with their entertainment. They couldn't sing, they couldn't write, they had zero talent. But it took 4 years for everybody to figure out who they really were. Milli Vanilli is what we have in the White House right now.
That's what happens when you spent the Blacks for Trump check and now you got to show up to the job. I personally don't know what was worse, the people's reaction behind him or the words that were actually coming out of his mouth.
It reminds me of the group Milli Vanilli. Do y'all remember Milli Vanilli? You know, it was two guys. They were, you know, claimed to be R&B German artists, even though they had British accents, and they were born in Madrid or something like that. But sound a little bit like Kamala. But what was funny is you know, they fooled the country for about 4 years with their entertainment. They couldn't sing, they couldn't write, they had zero talent. But it took 4 years for everybody to figure out who they really were. Milli Vanilli is what we have in the White House right now.
The people behind them are the only thing that can distract us from how dumb he sounds. How you get up there and speak, and it sounds like you don't even know who Milli Vanilli is. But I got email after email after email about this speech. So for my people, I'm going to watch this, and we're going to see how many times I need to stop it, because my wife always makes fun of me because I always stop it when we're watching a movie or a show. I always stop it because I got commentary. Let's see how many times. Let's see if I can make it all the way through this without stopping.
My name is Michaela Montgomery. A lot of you guys know me as the girl from Chick-fil-A, but I am so much more than that.
All right, I'm going to stop us right there. What was all that? Huh? Why you coming out like Sita's World, huh? Like you're really giving Sita from BET right now. Does anybody know her? Does she always talk like this?
Not only do I serve as the CEO of Conserve the Culture, I am also the state director for Blexit down here in Georgia. I'm a Fulton County coordinator for America First Works, and I'm also launching a podcast on the Patriots Prayer Network, so put some respect on my name. Now, why don't we jump right into it? See, as a young single mother, I can tell y'all that rent is too damn high.
Sorry, no, I liked it better the first time.
Rent, it's too damn high.
But if we stealing speeches, you should feel right at home with MAGA.
I can tell you that as a young black voter, groceries are too damn high. And as an American citizen, period, seniors like my parents should never have to choose between medicine or food. It should never be the quality of life versus the quantity of life. And I don't want to hear, oh, but we capped the price of insulin and lowered the price of all these medicines.
I'm sorry, come again?
And I don't want to hear, oh, but we capped the price of insulin and lowered the price of all these medicines.
I don't want to hear that we capped the price of insulin and we lowered the price of all these medicines. Then what you want to hear? You should have taken that out the speech. Because you should. Who wrote this?
Yeah, but you raised the price of everything else, so it's about time to start telling the truth to Americans and let them know exactly what they're signing up for if they want to vote for Kamala Harris. We need to vote based on facts and not feelings.
Sound like they're signing up for a cap on insulin and all these other medicines.
See, under Harris and Biden, the average Georgia household is losing $1,060 per month, and inflation is at 21.4%. And due to the war on energy, average gas prices have reached record highs for the state. We also did a poll, and 80% of us black Americans are not happy with the current state of the economy, so I'm gonna need 80% of y'all to vote accordingly in November. They love me, they really love me.
This what y'all wanted me to watch? Huh? This what y'all wanted me to watch? If you emailed me to watch this speech, I got your information. If you start receiving emails from Avon and Comcast and Avis Rental Car, you know what happened.
The left wants you to get in your feelings about things that have been said, but I want you guys to pay attention to what has been done. They don't want to talk policy. They just want to use propaganda to steal your vote. The left is trying to tout this woman as a savior for the black community, but all she's done is hurt the black community since she came into the game. See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor...
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. That probably should go on the other side of... See, this is the back to blue. This is the back to blue right here. So, because you making the back to blue people feel like hypocrites that you're highlighting the fact that they are supporting a felon. Yeah, you don't want to do that in the speech. Who wrote this?
Why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families? I wonder if Mrs. Willie Brown, a black woman, is also with her.
Okay, a couple things here. I believe that Tim Walz has a rule that you could probably use.
There's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
But since you have opted to get in somebody else's business and attack a woman for accusations of sleeping around, as a black woman yourself, a noted MO of the Pick Me, I have to ask myself, where's your black family? Where's your black family? Because you did say you was a single mother, right? You did say you was a single mother. So you are particularly curious about Willie Brown, somebody else's man. Is that what made him leave? You were so obsessed with Willie Brown that he left. I wouldn't normally even be here, but you decided to bring it here. Don't let them find out you a single mother. Nah, because they don't. A woman taking her life and her future into her own hands without a man around to tell her what to do, they do not like that. They do not like that. Not to mention, if J.D. Vance find out, he gonna make you go back in your old relationship.
A few days ago, President Trump said he didn't know Vice President Harris was a black woman. I'm trying to figure out what all the outrage is about because she's only black when it's time to get elected. Did I lie?
I don't know who they told you to imitate, but Wanda from In Living Color was not it. That was not it. I mean, they actually would have been better off telling you to imitate Kamala than Shanae from Martin. This is not, not feeling it. It's a no for me, dog.
The same black people who are mad at Trump for being confused about her race, ethnicity, nationality, whatever, are seemingly forgetting that while you're touting her as a savior for black people, she identifies as an Asian woman. She chose her side and it wasn't ours.
She chose her side and it wasn't ours. Sounds about right. They love to project.
When asked if she would ever do anything specifically for black people, she said no. Whereas Trump gave us the Platinum Plan, which specifically uplifted the black community by increasing capital by almost $500 billion, creating 500,000 new black businesses, and would give black churches the ability to fight for federal resources for their communities.
Now, I've done a whole piece. I've actually, I believe, done multiple pieces debunking this notion of Trump's work in the black community, specifically for businesses, because they know how to make money and make it seem like they're giving you something. I also find it particularly hilarious he called it the Platinum Plan. That makes me laugh every time I hear the Platinum Plan. You sure you didn't want to go with Gold Plan? How about the Chicken Plan?
And why are we acting like strong borders aren't a thing literally everywhere else in the world? Since when has being patriotic been a crime? See, a few weeks ago at the debate, Trump mentioned black jobs. And a lot of people got in an uproar as if they didn't know what he meant. Well, we go to the polls and cast our black vote. We go to the stores and spend our black dollar. We live in our black community, but for whatever reason, we draw the line at a black job. Oh, but wait, because if you're wondering what a black job is, please, I encourage you all to drive through Atlanta at all these beautiful black-owned businesses and check and see who works there. Probably a black person working for a black entrepreneur, recycling the black dollar, creating black generational wealth.
Okay, so if I'm following, what Trump was saying was the immigrants are coming in and taking specifically jobs that black people have, right? If I'm following you, why would immigrants be discerning that they're taking jobs specifically from black people? Oh, there's a black doctor. I gotta take that job. Is that a black pilot? I gotta take that job. Is that a black entrepreneur? That's where we coming for next. How does that make any sense? Whoever wrote this speech need to be fired. Or forced to watch Cedar's World on BET and the whole box set of Martin. Because that's what this feels like.
If they come here illegally and they're taking your jobs and your resources, then please believe my cousins in the Appalachians, they're coming for you too.
Now here is the one good point that she has made. The fact that, as Martin Luther King so eloquently said, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. When they allow these kinds of atrocities, discrimination, and disregard in the black community, you give them license to do it in your community. I've never understood why more white people don't internalize this, especially when it comes to the police, where they always want to make excuses for anybody brutalizing a black person. So you really just want to give them a blank check to roam around and do whatever they want with no recourse or justice? Is that something that you think would be tenable in your community? I don't understand why they don't put this together. But then always want to talk about governmental overreach.
And y'all know Kamala Harris has yet to say Laken Riley's name.
You have yet to say Sonia Massey's name. Next.
As borders are, she opened the border to millions of illegal immigrants that have flooded American streets with deadly drugs and gangs that have spiked overdoses by over 124% and brought more crime into minority communities. So how's that for black folks?
Oh, no, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. She said minority communities. They don't care about that happening. She meant white communities. She meant white. That was a typo. That was definitely a typo. By the way, this whole migrant crime wave of brown people coming in and pillaging and doing the other thing and flooding the world, flooding the country with drugs, that sound familiar? Huh? That sound familiar? You know what? I should do a piece all about that. Coming soon.
But let's take race out of it. Just as a woman, period. How can you be a champion for women's rights when you're taking away opportunities from biological women and giving them to transgendered ones? I'll wait, y'all, because I wasn't done. See, how can you promote equity for women and you're allowing men to play in women's sports? And what kind of feminist would still allow men to enter their sacred spaces, i.e. our bathrooms and school locker rooms? Do I even need to mention the opening ceremony at the Olympics?
I'm glad she mentioned the Olympics. I'm glad she mentioned the Olympics because I would love to peek into her brain and see the mental gymnastics that it takes to posture Donald Trump and MAGA as pro-woman. Like, I need to see that. At worst, it would have won the silver medal.
Or the fact that Angela Carini was forced to fight a man and told us that she's never been punched so hard in her life. We cannot allow dangerous liberals who think things like this are okay into the White House, because my daughter will not be fighting a man at her wrestling match.
Well, hopefully she won't be fighting anybody at her wrestling match, because that's not how wrestling works. By the way, I think you got a person at your back door. I'm gonna call out racism. I'm gonna call out racism because whoever wrote this speech just mailed it in. They were lazy, because the fact that it's so easily attainable, the fact that the person that Angela Carini fought, the woman that Angela Carini fought, was not trans, that is a Google away, yet they left it in the speech. This is not their best work. This is not their best work.
And what I think both men and women can agree on is that national security is important. So who would y'all rather see lead us into war if it were so to happen? My silk-pressed sister Kamala or the big dog Donald Trump?
Now here you see right here, I've talked about the value of having a black face to spout anti-black racism. Here you see that coupled with the value of a woman spouting sexism. Could you put those words in the mouth of anybody else and have it not be wildly offensive? But if you can find a black face, we good. Funny how now all of a sudden Kamala is your silk-pressed sister, because you said she was Indian, right?
And speaking of pharmaceuticals,
what you own? Huh? I need to know what you own, because that's some good stuff. That is some real good stuff, whatever you own.
When they bring up abortion and they talk about protecting your medical freedoms, don't be afraid to mention COVID. The Biden-Harris administration forced Americans to take an experimental vaccine and took away their jobs, their livelihoods, and their freedoms if they refused. Trump gave us a choice and Biden gave us a mandate.
Now here was the second time that she actually made a really good point. She made a really good point here because she talks about Biden giving us a mandate when it came to COVID, because we were trying to contain the spread and make sure that we save the lives of millions of Americans, whereas Trump just had super spreader events and was slow to act and cost us thousands and thousands of lives. In hindsight, it's clear that we should have protected ourselves and left you to your own devices, because this is what we have to deal with on the back end. We should have let y'all have it. You right.
Hey, y'all, because I'm about to kill him with this one.
No, you ain't.
So the next time the left wants to tell you that, hey, abortion is a right and you need to protect your medical freedoms, remember that they took those freedoms away from men and women the second they got in office, and there's nothing stopping them from doing it again. Clock it.
That wasn't it. Nah, that wasn't it. And Atlanta, hey Atlanta, is that what we clock it? Is that what we saying now? Huh? You sure she didn't want to go with bumping? Huh? You don't want to go with she raised the roof?
So lastly, again, I'm going to encourage you all to vote based on the facts and not feelings. Oh, he made me feel so bad when he said that. Okay, but they hurt your families when they sent all your tax dollars overseas. Oh, it hurts my feelings when he acts like that. Okay, but it hurts all of us when you see an administration failing their country that they were elected to represent.
Sending tax dollars overseas? Ooh, clearly she didn't watch the RNC. She did not watch the RNC. I just want us all as a family to acknowledge the fact that they could not give a speech in front of black people, presumably a few black people in Atlanta, without acknowledging the terrible things that Donald Trump has said. Think about how wild that is. I'm giving a speech clearly co-written with his people, and we still have to acknowledge, oh, he hurt my feelings when he talks like that. I'm old enough to remember when you could give a Prost candidate speech and that didn't need to be in there because he hadn't said such a litany of terrible things.
In which case, I'm going to leave y'all with, hey, mama, daddy, I made it.
Now, I absolutely love the way that she ended this speech. I absolutely love the way that she ended this speech with apparently, what is her tagline? I made it. She did. She made it on stage at a Trump rally. You heard her speak. Now you tell me, is there any other setting, or any setting period, because clearly you guys did not attend this. Is there any setting in which you would have sat and listened to this person? Would you have listened to her on the bus? If she would have got up in the middle of Chick-fil-A, if she was in the middle of the street, if she was in the aisle at Target, if she was in the doctor's office, and I needed desperate care, I would ask my wife to drive me to the next closest hospital so I can go to their ER, because I cannot be privy to this nonsense. The only way in which she can garner a platform is to spout this nonsense. And here you understand how the conservative grift works. The same people that will accuse anybody on the other aisle with a tint of brown as being DEI just put Cedar's World on stage. And why? Because she would go at Kamala, call her Indian, bring up Willie Brown as a single mother, mind you. You think they wouldn't have had something to say about that if Kamala was a single mother? They talk about everything else except for the fact of her husband being Jewish, because they still want to accuse them of being anti-Semitic. Is there any other world in which we are subjected to Michaela Montgomery other than this one, this MAGA, and her spouting this nonsense? Now, forget the fact that he lies on Kamala Harris. You can brush past that. He also lied on the NABJ. I ain't forget about that.
So do you want the real story about why Donald Trump's interview with the National Association of Black Journalists was more than an hour late? So reports show that Donald Trump was refusing to take the stage unless the journalist agreed to not fact-check him live during the Q&A session. Philip Lewis, a reporter with HuffPost, wrote, "I'm told that Trump is demanding that NABJ not do the live fact-checking, and that's why the event hasn't started yet. Quote, we're in a standoff." The New York Times later confirmed this reporting, writing, "About 45 minutes before Trump took the stage, the former president pushed back on NABJ staffers who wanted to live fact-check the event, according to a person familiar with the planning. The board pushed back against the last-minute demand. When Trump took the stage, he said the delay was due to NABJ's audio issues."
And by the way, NABJ, you looking bad out here. You looking bad out here, because you look bad initially for having him come. You look bad a second time for not allowing Kamala to be there. You look bad a third time for not fact-checking and just allowing him to spout his nonsense. You look bad a fourth time, the fact that he called y'all the Chitlin Circuit and a bunch of ends because he kept saying that your equipment didn't work. And all the while, you knew it wasn't true, and you just let that lie live. Kind of like the lie that she repeated about him saving Clark Atlanta when she met him.
I gave millions and millions, billions of dollars to. They kept coming back, and I said, why are you doing this? And we gave them long-term funding. And she knew that because she said her college, which was, she loved her college. She said it was so great, right? You loved it.
The illustrious CAU.
Yeah, that's right. She loved her college, and she said, you saved my college. What was your college? Tell them.
The illustrious Clark Atlanta University.
But you are an incredible person. I think you have a tremendous future. I really do. And I'll do whatever I can to help you, okay? Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Great show. You want to say something else?
Man, you know, I thought I was done. But I do want to add on to some of the remarks that were made by others, and we do need to do our best to get the message out there. The fight is nothing if all we do is talk about it amongst ourselves. So with that being said, since you said you'd help me, shameless plug, if y'all need anybody to knock doors, make phone calls, wave signs, get people out to the polls, call me at Conserve the Culture. Because not only do I mobilize the HBCU students so that they may get this message, but I'm the best person when it comes to black engagement in the black community.
At least Clark Atlanta had the decency to clean that up. And this has really been good for me to see. I actually was frustrated and angry with y'all for making me watch this, but this actually helped me a whole lot because it helped me understand pick-me behavior a whole lot better. It's rare that you just get to see it live and in color and in action like this. This is just like a little kid wanting any kind of attention. It doesn't matter if it's bad attention. It doesn't matter if it's coming at my own expense. It doesn't matter if I have to do my worst Shanae impression while accusing somebody else of not being black. It's attention. And it's sad, because you know what? Now she's stuck. Now she's stuck. She got nowhere to go here, because you see how they'll do you if you stray.
Hi, I'm Kyle Rittenhouse, Outreach Director for Texas Gun Rights. A lot of people are upset that I said I'm going to be writing in Ron Paul for President of the United States. And that is true. I will be writing in Ron Paul. Unfortunately, Donald Trump had bad advisors making him bad on the Second Amendment, and that is my issue. If you cannot be completely uncompromisable on the Second Amendment, I will not vote for you, and I will write somebody else in. We need champions for the Second Amendment, or our rights will be eaten away and eroded each day. I support my decision, and I have no takebacks.
A few moments later.
I mean, you name a black woman and MAGA done talk down on her. Huh? Simone Biles. Challenge accepted.
Did she let down the country, do you think?
Well, I think obviously it's understandable that she was going through an incredible amount of pressure. What I find so weird about this, and it reflects more on the media than it does on Simone Biles, is that we've tried to turn a very tragic moment, Simone Biles quitting the Olympic team, into this act of heroism. And I think it reflects pretty poorly on our sort of therapeutic society that we try to praise people not for moments of strength, not for moments of heroism, but for their weakest moments.
I'm wore out, I'm tired. But here it is. Whenever I think about being wore out, being tired, you know, somebody get this on their phone and probably end up on Facebook with it. I ain't no little weak gymnast that quits when you go and get stuff. My generation is cut from a different cloth. You know, I don't quit when the going gets tough. Been plenty of times when I've been in the car, tired, dog tired, want to turn around and go back home. You see, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm not like somebody out there flipping around on TV on some monkey bars out there trying to get a gold medal for myself. I'm doing this for a bigger cause.
Yeah, you owe me double for that. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
In the words of the great Steph Curry, we can tell Donald Trump, night, night. In the words of the great American poet, Nellie, it's getting hot in here.
This is our time, America. This is when we stand up. This is when we break through. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go with it.
And thank you, Joe Biden, for your leadership.
Let me know in my heart, when my days are through, America, America, I gave my best to you.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page.
I'm Derek Johnson, President and CEO of the NAACP.
and I'm here to do my black job.
That's right. I am on my black job. I got everything you need to know that happened the first day of the DNC convention. And any black job in 2024 has to start with Jesse Jackson, because we got to keep hope alive. Shout out to them with a very intentional nod to the previous generations of activism and leadership. Followed by the next generation, Jasmine Crockett.
Will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision?
She was so good, I did a piece all about her speech. You can check out that link in the bio. There was United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain.
In the words of the great American poet, Nellie, it's getting hot in here.
Nelly is having a bit of a resurgence, is he not? I'm just glad he didn't finish that chorus, because it's a family show. Oh, come on, Trump. You could take a little scab after threatening to fire workers who strike.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good.
And it's not like it's the worst thing you've been called.
That's right. That's how Donald Trump's day went today. The woman he has paid more money to than any woman he hasn't married, criminal defense attorney Susan Nicholas, repeatedly called her client, Donald Trump, the orange turd on what she thought was an effective cross-examination of Stormy Daniels. So imagine Donald Trump sitting in that courtroom today, slumped in his chair, leaving his eyes closed for long stretches, being forced to listen with eyes closed or eyes open to one of his criminal defense lawyers on whom he has lavished money provided by his political contributors. Listen to her repeatedly call him the orange turd. And Donald Trump is, of course, the most vain human being who has ever entered that courthouse. But his colossal vanity combined with his even more colossal stupidity leaves us unable to tell what he was experiencing. A normal person couldn't be more humiliated. Donald Trump? Was that the first time he's heard himself referred to as the orange turd?
There was Team USA and Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr.
And after the results are tallied that night, we can, in the words of the great Steph Curry, we can tell Donald Trump, night, night. Thank you.
And I got to give him a lot of credit, not just for the gold medal, but his new draft was much better than the first draft, where he said that he would tell Donald Trump, in the immortal words of Kevin Garnett,
Hell no! Trash ass nigga.
Now I'm from the beautiful state of Maryland, so you know I got to big up Jamie Raskin.
Hello, America. And welcome to the Democracy Convention. Welcome to the Freedom Convention. And thank you for the beautiful weather, Chicago. It's been a little rough on Capitol Hill, where it's not just the heat, it's the stupidity. Hey, J.D. Vance, do you understand why there was a sudden job opening for running mate on the GOP ticket? They tried to kill your predecessor.
Now, can we just talk about that for a moment? The volume of people who worked closely with Donald Trump, who refused to endorse him, refused to even make appearance at the RNC's convention. It is so one-sided in terms of both political star power and real world star power that you have every night headlined by a president. My man can't even get a return phone call from the previous Republican presidents. This is what this schedule's looking like. Now, I understand with that kind of star power, things might run a little bit long. Yeah, things might run a little bit late, but that late? 12:30 late? I mean, you had me woken up by the crowd when each new person came on stage. But thankfully, everybody knew why they were there.
Thank you, Chicago, for your energy. Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision. And thank you, Joe Biden, for your leadership. First, though, let's salute President Biden. He has been democracy's champion at home and abroad. He brought dignity, decency, and competence back to the White House. And he showed what it means to be a true patriot. Thank you, Joe Biden, for your lifetime of service and leadership.
Now, I will keep it 100 with you. I was unsure about Hillary when I saw her on the ledger. She is a legend. She is an icon. She was the first woman to secure the nomination and looked to be sailing on her way to the presidency. But I thought it might have been a little, I don't know, bad juju. You don't really have the team that lost the previous Super Bowl come and give a pep talk before this year's Super Bowl. That don't feel right. But Hillary Clinton was fantastic.
I see the freedom to look our children in the eye and say, in America, you can go as far as your hard work and talent will take you, and mean it. And you know what? On the other side of that glass ceiling is Kamala Harris raising her hand and taking the oath of office as our 47th President of the United States. Because, my friends, when a barrier falls for one of us, it falls. It falls and clears the way for all of us. So for the next 78 days, we need to work harder than we ever have. We need to beat back the dangers that Trump and his allies pose to the rule of law and our way of life. Don't get distracted or complacent. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Volunteer. Be proud champions for the truth and for the country that we all love. I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to know I was here at this moment, that we were here, and that we were with Kamala Harris every step of the way. This is our time, America. This is when we stand up. This is when we break through. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go win it.
Hillary Clinton was as clean as them pantsuits. I'm telling you. She came in, she met the moment. And you know what? So did this crowd. They knew the assignment last night. Now here's the point where I have to ask, would Trump have allowed this? Would Trump have allowed signs praising anybody but him at the RNC? Do you think he would have sat there and tolerated a bunch of "We Love Joe" signs, even for the predecessor that paved the way for him to secure the nomination? What does that say? World peace? Like, you mean like actual world peace? All right, that's fine. That can stay. Actually, no, I forgot about meta world peace. That gotta go. Meanwhile, not only do you have one night devoted to Joe Biden, Kamala actually made an appearance to honor Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. It is so good to be with everyone this evening in this hall and everyone at home. This is going to be a great week. And I want to kick us off by celebrating our incredible President, Joe Biden, who will be speaking later tonight. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you. Thank you, Joe. And looking out at everyone tonight, I see the beauty of our great nation. People from every corner of our country and every walk of life are here, united by our shared vision for the future of our country. And this November, we will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward. With optimism, hope, and faith, so guided by our love of country, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us, let us fight for the ideals we hold dear, and let us always remember, when we fight, we win. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Now, by the time all that happened, it was so late the crowd had to wake me up again. But I caught the moment. Sorry I had to mute a portion of that. They had to blast music in, knowing that we were going to use it for commentary and that it would be a problem. This is where it's actually easier to commentate on the RNC convention, because you don't have those kind of problems, because nobody will give them rights to the music. That moment of Joe Biden with his daughter, wow. Juxtapose that with Trump, because you remember what happened at the RNC. Basically, Joe Biden is the guy that Republicans want Trump to pretend to be. Is there any way you could dispense with the insults and come off like a religious family man full of conviction? Oh, you mean like this?
But I ran with a deep conviction in America. I know and believe in an America where honesty, dignity, decency still matter. An America where everyone has a fair shot and hate has no safe harbor. An America where the fundamental creed of this nation, that all of us are created equal, is still very much alive. Nowhere else in the world could a kid with a stutter and modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, grow up to sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. That's because America is and always has been a nation of possibilities. Possibilities. We must never lose that. Never. To serve as your president, I love the job, but I love my country more. I love my country more. And all this talk about how I'm angry at all those people who said I should step down, that's not true. I love my country more, and we need to preserve our democracy. In 2024, we need you to vote. We need you to keep the Senate. We need you to win back the House of Representatives. And above all, we need you to beat Donald Trump.
You tell me what job Trump would have walked away from for the good of somebody else. Oh, they want me to step down? Are the feds coming? There isn't a single action this man has taken in his entire life that wasn't self-serving. Oh, you just happen to identify with black people now that you need our vote. Funny how this didn't happen when you were actually in power. So naturally, a man like Joe Biden had to have some smoke for old Donnie.
Guess what? On his watch, the murder rate went up 30%, the biggest increase in history. Meanwhile, we made the largest investment, Kamala and I, in public safety ever. Now, the murder rate is falling faster than any time in history. Violent crime has dropped to the lowest level of more than 50 years. And crime will keep coming down when we put a prosecutor in the Oval Office instead of a convicted felon.
But he saved his best for last.
The song is called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, and I can't sing worth a damn, so I'm not going to try. I'll just quote it. The work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall our legacy be? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years, like many of you, I've given my heart and soul to our nation. And I've been blessed a million times in return for the support of the American people.
Now I understand there was a big movement to watch it on C-SPAN because a lot of you guys are sick of the commentators on CNN and MSNBC wearing blue hats over red hats. Well, I made the mistake of listening to them, and I heard a bunch of people talking about how angry Joe Biden sounded, how ingracious Joe Biden sounded.
And then we had all these speakers. Some of them were, anonymous ranting mediocrities that pushed Joe Biden way deep into the night. I kind of feel sorry for Biden. I mean, they took this away from him at the pinnacle of his career. I understand why he appeared angry at times. And I thought some of the speech met the moment. Some of it, though, was hyper partisan, frankly false ranting about his opponent.
They was actually no better than the people on Twitter that had Angry Joe trending. And to you all, I say, do you remember what Joe Biden used to sound like?
And the unparalleled bravery of our special forces. We can now proudly say what you've heard me say the last 6 months. Osama bin Laden is dead and General Motors is alive.
When Joe Biden stopped sounding like Angry Joe all the time, you wondered what was wrong. Do you want Angry Joe or Sleepy Joe? The man had one job, and his job was to put Kamala over. Those of you wrestling fans or UFC fans, you know exactly what I'm alluding to. We don't have it so much in basketball and football. They just get blown out. In boxing, they just get knocked out. The old guard uses their cachet and transfers the glow over to the new guard. And he did that.
Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career. But join me in promising your whole heart to this effort, and where my heart will be. I promise I'll be the best volunteer Harrison Waltz has Cam ever seen.
Now, if you think Joe Biden was in any way ingracious, I want to give you this simple scenario. Either one of two things happened. Either he willfully decided to step down for the good of the party and listen to all of his advisors and decided to do the thing that was in the best interest of the country, or he had his arm twisted and his feet held to the fire, and he unwillingly decided to step down, but still turned around a month later and gave this speech, giving her all of this praise and to give her the best opportunity to win. What you want from the man?
Joe Biden has been in public service since he was in his mid-20s. Joe Biden knows what it's like to be a young person that has something to say, that wants to get engaged and get involved, that feels like the people in power haven't passed the baton to the younger generation. That's what Joe Biden was when he got in. When he was 29 years old, he was elected to the United States Senate. His first wife and baby daughter are killed in a car accident. And he said he didn't want to serve. And it was the senators in the United States Senate at the time that pulled him in, Republicans and Democrats, that made sure that he would be okay and told him that you need to be here. We need you. America needs you. The Senate needs you. America definitely needed Joe Biden. And to go from that 29-year-old young person to this seasoned president who won an election who won a primary that everybody said he couldn't win, who beat Donald Trump in an election where everyone said he was just in the basement and they didn't know how he was going to do it, and then became president of the United States, vaccinated America, cut bipartisan deals, and even the people who work for him, we were like, well, we don't know, sir, but we gonna do what you say do. I just don't know how he gonna do it, but he got it done. And then to say, and I'm still not finished, I still want to run. The people say, no, you're not. Joe Biden says, yes, I am. And then he says, you know what? I need to do what's best for America. And then while everybody else was playing checkers, Joe Biden was playing chess and said, I'm passing the baton to my vice president, the person who has been loyal to not just me, but America throughout this entire process, the person who I said is the representative of what the future of this party is. That's Joe Biden. So if he wanted to speak for 25 more minutes now, I would have been like, I want to go to sleep now, Rachel. I'm going to catch Rachel from a hotel room. But he deserved this night and so much more.
Amen. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.
There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. All right, Barack Obama, you want the good news or the bad news first? Let's go with the good news. I got the White Sox jersey that you asked for, and Michelle, she killed it last night.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Wait. I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Yeah, people was crying like the end of Set It Off. It was something to see. Which brings me to the bad news. You up next. Yeah, and people talking on the internet, they saying that she gonna get the big piece of chicken at the post-event meal. Matter of fact, this guy I follow on YouTube put out a whole Michelle Obama video in the morning, and he didn't put yours out until the nighttime. Huh? Oh, that was me? My bad. I have been here before. Believe me, I have had to follow some incredible acts in my time and seen the disappointment on people's faces. What you got to do, you just lean into it. Just lean into it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. You have to turn them from her crowd into our crowd.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's enough. Thank you, thank you. Chicago, it's good to be home. It is good to be home, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fired up. I am feeling ready to go. Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama. I am feeling hopeful because this convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible.
Excellent, excellent. That was so well done. Now the scouting report on this crowd says to drag Trump to the white meat. What you got in the chamber?
From a guy whose act has, let's face it, gotten pretty stale. We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
Boy, you got that right.
The people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on.
Yes, he gonna cry in the car. Yeah. He gonna cry in the car.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes.
I see what you did there. Matter of fact, Michelle called him small too.
Instead, it only makes us small. And let me tell you this, going small is never the answer. Going small is the opposite of what we teach our kids. Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential.
You know what warms my heart is the knowledge that somewhere Trump with his equally tiny hands is alone in a room watching this.
I know these ideas can feel pretty naive right now. We live in a time of such confusion and rancor, with a culture that puts a premium on things that don't last. Money, fame, status, likes. We chase the approval of strangers on our phones. We build all manner of walls and fences around ourselves, and then we wonder why we feel so alone. We don't trust each other as much because we don't take the time to know each other. And in that space between us, politicians and algorithms teach us to caricature each other and troll each other and fear each other. But here's the good news, Chicago. All across America, in big cities and small towns, away from all the noise, the ties that bind us together are still there. We still coach Little League and look out for our elderly neighbors. We still feed the hungry in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples. We share the same pride when our Olympic athletes compete for the gold. Because the vast majority of us do not want to live in a country that's bitter and divided. We want something better. We want to be better. And the joy and the excitement that we're seeing around this campaign tells us we're not alone.
You know what? Why don't we give Joe Biden some love?
It's been 16 years since I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. And I know that's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit. But it's true. And looking back, I can say without question that my first big decision as your nominee turned out to be one of my best. And that was asking Joe Biden to serve by my side as vice president. Other than some common Irish blood, Joe and I come from different backgrounds, but we became brothers. And as we worked together for 8, sometimes pretty tough years, what I came to admire most about Joe wasn't just his smarts, his experience. It was his empathy and his decency and his hard-earned resilience, his unshakable belief that everyone in this country deserves a fair shot. And over the last 4 years, those are the values America has needed most. At a time when millions of our fellow citizens were sick and dying, we needed a leader with the character to put politics aside and do what was right. At a time when our economy was reeling, we needed a leader with the determination to drive what would become the world's strongest recovery. 15 million jobs, higher wages, lower health care costs. At a time when the other party had turned into a cult of personality, we needed a leader who was steady and brought people together and was selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics, putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country. History will remember Joe Biden as an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend.
Fight back, Trump! Fight back! Fight back, Trump!
I like him. I think he's a nice gentleman, but he was very, very weak on trade. If you take a look at what happened to our country trade-wise, it was a disaster. Take a look at Japan, take a look at China, take a look at what happened with some of these countries, what they did. But I happen to like him. I respect him, and I respect his wife.
Okay, we can stop. He's already dead. Oh, man. After years of slander and racism and sexism and all that you can name directed at the Obamas, now all of a sudden he likes and respects him. Huh, must be something to do with that dwindling crowd I see.
That sense of mutual respect has to be part of our message. Our politics have become so polarized these days that all of us across the political spectrum seem so quick to assume the worst in others, unless they agree with us on every single issue. We start thinking that the only way to win is to scold and shame and out-yell the other side. And after a while, regular folks just tune out, or they don't bother to vote. Now, that approach may work for the politicians who just want attention and thrive on division, but it won't work for us. To make progress on the things we care about, the things that really affect people's lives, we we need to remember that we've all got our blind spots and contradictions and prejudices, and that if we want to win over those who aren't yet ready to support our candidates, we need to listen to their concerns and maybe learn something in the process. After all, if a parent or grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people. We recognize that the world is moving fast, that they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up. Our fellow citizens deserve the same grace we hope they'll extend to us.
Now, let's turn to Kamala.
But she also knows college shouldn't be the only ticket to the middle class. We need to follow the lead of governors like Tim Walz, who said, if you've got the skills and the drive, you shouldn't need a degree to work for state government. And in this new economy, we need a president who actually cares about the millions of people all across this country who wake up every single day to do the essential, often thankless work, to care for our sick, to clean our streets, to deliver our packages. We need a president who will stand up for their right to bargain for better wages and working conditions. And Kamala will be that president. Yes, she can. Yes, she can.
Okay, next I got vision for the future.
That's how we can build a true Democratic majority, one that can get things done. And by the way, that does not just matter to the people in this country. The rest of the world is watching to see if we can actually pull this off. No nation, no society has ever tried to build a democracy as big and as diverse as ours before. One that includes people that over decades have come from every corner of the globe. One where our allegiances and our community are defined not by race or blood, but by a common creed. And that's why when we uphold our values, the world's a little brighter. When we don't, the world's a little dimmer. And dictators and autocrats feel emboldened. And over time, we become less safe. We shouldn't be the world's policemen, and we can't eradicate every cruelty and injustice in the world. But America can be and must be a force for good. Discouraging conflict, fighting disease, promoting human rights, protecting the planet from climate change, defending freedom, brokering peace. That's what Kamala Harris believes, and so do most Americans.
Okay, last but not... Hey, Barry, what you doing?
On health care, we should all be proud of the enormous progress that we've made through the Affordable Care Act, providing millions of people access to affordable coverage, protecting millions more from unscrupulous insurance practices. I noticed, by the way, that since it's become popular, they don't call it Obamacare no more.
Oh, so we just riffing now. Okay, you feeling yourself. All right, I ain't mad. You got it. Anything else?
She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is. And in the White House, she will have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I love this guy. Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet, and they have been through some stuff. They have been through some stuff. That's right.
You did your research. You was paying attention. You did your research. Boy, you don't miss nothing. Out here looking like a thrift store mannequin, you know, if they had mannequins. By the way, can we put some respect on Gwen Wall's name? Every DNC speech, she reacting like Michael Jackson walking the streets of Bucharest. I love it. Well, Barry, the verdict is in. You killed it. Even Van Jones couldn't hate.
The Goldilocks, they're not perfect. This was a masterful act of leadership. It was a sacred task. They took it on well. It was like an oasis. I didn't realize I had been in a spiritual desert until they created that oasis on that stage, and they did a beautiful job tonight.
But truthfully, that might have had something to do with getting kicked off the cool kids MAGA lunch table. Now, I mentioned this in my Michelle Obama video that I put out earlier today. We forget what political discourse used to sound like. We forget how dignified our elected leaders used to come off. Now I see why MAGA hates the Obamas so much. It's kind of like being on the junior high debate team and being forced to attend a college debate, knowing that you will never be able to talk that good. Wait a minute. Is that Byron Donalds?
I'm here at the DNC. Is this Mr. Fascist Byron Donalds? In the flesh? What the?
Hey, Byron, what you doing here? Is he selling Jamaican flag t-shirts? Boy, hey, you know we gonna have to talk about this. Sincere thanks to everybody who's reached out to me and submitted suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I take submissions for ideas for a video, suggestions for Racist of the Week. If you have something that just troubles you, or you just want to send me a note, because I love getting those notes, go ahead and shoot me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. I also have a newsletter that I send out periodically, so you'll be receiving that as well. You can also sign up on my website, reesewaters.com.